This is a real haunted house, and tonight I will be staying here alone. There is no camera person here, no one holding lights or operating a mic. I won't even have a phone or radio, in fact, no contact with the outside world at all. It's just me, this camera, and my scientific tools. My heart is pounding in my chest right now because there's no telling what I may experience tonight. And I assure you, everything you'll see will be 100% real. I'm author and paranormal investigator Joshua P. Warren, and this is Alone in a Haunted House.
This is Drayton House. It is hidden deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains of western North Carolina. Drayton is gothic and somber, filled with dark rooms and hallways that ramble on in all directions. The place was built in the 1920s and has always been a private residence. I was only able to spend a night there since the family recently sold it and it's temporarily abandoned. Out of respect for the family, I can't mention specific details regarding its past, but most know it's haunted the moment they see it. The mansion clearly looks the part. Not only is the house active, the entire estate that owns it is haunted. Numerous confirmed deaths have occurred on the property. In fact, a security guard recently quit his job in tears upon encountering an apparition. But I know for a fact that it's haunted, because this isn't the first time I've been here. I investigated once before with my paranormal research team, Lemur. The monstrous attic seems to be the most active part of the house, and at one point our audio expert came flying down the attic steps. He was observing alone, the only light coming in from a window, when suddenly a dark form blotted out the window's light. Later, I took a photo at the same spot in the attic, and this white anomaly appeared floating in midair. What is this? It was invisible to my naked eye. One person associated with the estate was also involved with a secret society and may have been interested in the occult. Did this contribute to Drayton's present condition? Tonight, I hope to understand more about what strange activity occurs here. Though I was here once before, I certainly wasn't by myself. Of course, that changes everything. By the way, would you spend a night here all alone?
Now let me remind you that I am completely alone tonight. That means I'm having to juggle several things at once. Operating the camera, taking instrument readings, communicating thoughts to you, and responding to an unpredictable environment. So please forgive any loss in technical quality this program may suffer. That's the price one pays for being alone.
As I hauled equipment into the mansion, it began to rain outside. It seemed to be a fleeting shower, but it certainly increased humidity. The first thing on my agenda was to establish a base camp. The more information one has about the environment, the better. Therefore, I set up this atomic clock, as well as a device that registers the temperature and humidity of the location.
Now, I've also laid out a variety of gadgets that I'll be using throughout the night. These are simple tools that will tell me more about the environment. And one of the most common tools that I use on an investigation is the tri-field natural EM meter. Now this device is so sensitive it can actually pick up the energy field of the human body. For example, if I place it down and then give it time to settle, it will pick up the energy from my body if I simply wave my hand around it. Sometimes when I take this meter and place it in a haunted house and leave the area vacant, say watch it remotely, oftentimes it will respond just like it was responding to my hand, almost like there's something moving around it. But again, no one is there. Is it possible that ghosts also carry this energy field that we carry in life? That's why when doing ghost research, we always check for unexplainable fluctuations of electromagnetism. When people encounter ghosts, they frequently report the same types of experiences: hair standing on end, cold chills, objects moving around, three-dimensional light forms. And these are all effects which can be created artificially using electrostatic charges. So it's possible that ghosts might draw electrical charges out of the air in order to affect the physical environment. In fact, a similar effect can be demonstrated using a simple magnet. Now you see, a magnet is surrounded by lines of force which are invisible to the naked eye. You can't feel them. In fact, you might never know they were there until you put a magnet in a tube filled with iron filings. And of course, immediately you can see these lines of force represented because of the iron filings sticking to them. Now, of course, you're not actually looking at the lines of force. You're looking at a physical representation of them. And in the same fashion, ghosts might create a physical representation of themselves using electrical charges instead of iron filings. Now, if it is indeed true that ghosts use electrostatic charges to materialize, then we should be able to increase our chances of seeing a materialization if we fill the air with as many electrical charges as possible. And that's why I brought along this device, a Wimshurst generator.
A Wimshurst can produce hundreds of thousands of volts of static electricity, and using this power, one can easily create distinct illuminations. If you safely hook the device to a person, it's possible to move small objects without touching them. This ping pong ball easily responds. So does this cigarette. You can see how ghosts could move objects using static electricity. Charges make this thread stand up straight, just like your hair might if you encounter a phantom. You can quickly see the possible connection between this energy and spiritual manifestations. I had to give the machine an initial charge using a special ion gun. The humidity was high, making it difficult to charge the machine. However, the electricity it pours into the air may increase one's chances of witnessing the paranormal. Therefore, I wanted it to operate all night. After checking environmental data on my laptop, I was ready to begin my investigation.
Now, this place was creepy before the sun went down, but now that the sun has gone down, creepy is an understatement. I've already heard several strange noises, various cracks and bangs, but I guess those types of sounds are normal in an old house like this.
Drayton is a huge mansion, and there are lots of rooms to explore. Perhaps the greatest danger is tripping and falling, injuring myself. This is especially since my eyes are trained on the camera's screen. I have no way of calling for help. Would you spend a night alone, wandering this place in the darkness? Here are the remains of an old elevator. I wonder if the owners had trouble using the stairs. At one time, I'm sure this kitchen was well stocked, but now it's as desolate as any other room. I decided to head for the attic next, and on the way, I registered my first unusual readings of the night. I could find no conventional explanation for those energy fluctuations. Perhaps the attic will yield more. Can you imagine how it would feel to turn a corner and come face to face with a ghastly apparition? The attic is especially impressive after dark. It's absolutely enormous, and the shadows could hold almost anything. I was fascinated by the interior of the castle's turret. It was painstakingly built and quite beautiful. Surprisingly, despite its foreboding atmosphere, things in the attic seemed rather calm. I decided to head downstairs to the basement. People often talk about cold spots in haunted places, so I tested the air temperature, but all seemed fairly normal. However, I was taken aback when the electromagnetic field meter suddenly maxed out. Activity was picking up. This is the mechanical room. I got a strange feeling about that room, but it was nothing compared to the next one. This tiny, run-down room was once the servants' quarters. I got a truly unsettling feeling there and decided to come back later for more extensive investigation. I headed back up toward my base camp in the living room section and took some more environmental readings, but everything seemed to be quite normal.
When ghost hunting, aside from shooting video footage, it's also helpful to have a digital still camera on hand. Aside from giving you instant feedback and being somewhat sensitive to the infrared realm, they also allow you to capture things which are moving too fast for the human eyes to detect. For example, if I turn this fan on high, the individual blades move too fast for the naked eye to see. They become invisible. Now, if I look at the fan through my digital camera, you can see the blades are still invisible until I take a picture. And now the blades have appeared. You can observe a similar effect by using a strobe light, because it basically does what your camera shutter does. See, by placing a strobe light on the fan at certain frequencies, again, the invisible becomes visible, based simply upon the way you view it. And that's why later on, we're going to be monitoring some rooms by strobe light. I'm now sitting in the basement and it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's a great time to do some audio recordings. You see, just like you can photograph things that were invisible to your naked eyes, you can also record sounds that your ears cannot hear. In order to do this, I use a device like this, which picks up incredibly faint sounds, including some sounds that are too high or too low for the naked ears to hear. And by connecting this into my laptop, I can record those sounds digitally and analyze them later.
After making a few adjustments, I started recording, but I couldn't hear what was being recorded until after the fact.
I've only been testing out the system, and yet I've already recorded some clamoring sounds down here that I couldn't hear with my naked ears. Give this a listen. Well, it's 2:40 in the morning, and I'm back up here in the attic. And in just a moment, I'm going to turn out all the lights. Then I have a few things I want to try. I brought the ion gun up here so I can spray some electrical charges around. I'm also going to spread out a few meters and see what we can detect. I brought my digital still camera. I'll snap off a few shots. And also, I have a night vision scope. So let's see what happens.
Digital cameras are sensitive to the infrared realm. See the infrared flash of the remote in my hand? That's invisible to the naked eye. Therefore, I've brought along a special infrared meter. I can wave it around the attic, then take a photo wherever it indicates an infrared anomaly. Now, right now, I'm walking around and waving this infrared meter across the attic. And whenever I get a hit on the infrared scale, I snap off a picture, and almost every time I get a hit, I get an anomalous photo. So there's clearly some kind of correlation going on here regarding anomalies in the infrared realm. These photos show orbs, which are balls or specks of light. No one knows what orbs are, but they are commonly seen at haunted places. Some believe they may actually be spirits. Before taking a photo, I decided to spray the air with ions in an attempt to stimulate paranormal activity. Now, I just hit the ion button and snapped off a picture. You might be able to see the anomaly that appeared. I'm going to take another picture. And absolutely nothing. In addition to enhancing low light, night vision scopes also allow you to see somewhat into the infrared realm. So I observed through mine for a while, but I saw nothing extraordinary. Next, I set the tri-field electromagnetic field meter in place, watching it from a distance. It didn't take long before the device began picking up distinct, unexplainable fluctuations.
I just rewound some of the footage and watched it, and I was amazed by what I saw. When I came in here earlier, there was absolutely nothing going on in here. But now, orbs are everywhere. I've seen at least 6 to 12 of them zipping around. One of them even went right behind my back when I didn't realize it, of course. And these orbs are in the infrared realm, so they're invisible to my naked eyes. Makes me wonder what else is around me that is also invisible to my naked eyes. This place is active.
The infrared video camera revealed a small world of anomalies emerging around me. Orb-like effects can be created by dust, insects, fog, or similar airborne particles, but why did they appear only now? Why weren't they there earlier in the evening? Are these spiritual energies zipping around, effortlessly traveling about the mansion in the dead of night? I hoped to see anomalies with my naked eyes, so I tried another part of the house. The main staircase was the most outstanding feature of the castle's interior. Perhaps I would see a phantom gliding up or down its swirling length. After placing the tri-field, I wanted to give myself the best chances of seeing a ghost with my naked eyes, so I turned on a strobe light to observe the area. Remember, it can allow your eyes to see things moving too fast for your normal vision. If the orbs I videotaped were indeed spirits, then they certainly move quickly. Perhaps it was due to the high humidity, but a specter never appeared.
Well, it's another beautiful daybreak here in the enchanting Blue Ridge Mountains, and that means my adventure here is over for now. I've had a grand time. I've seen things I can't explain, heard things I can't explain, but the story's not over yet because I still have lots of video footage, audio recordings, and photographs to analyze for more results. But now it's time to head home and get some sleep.
After examining all my photos, I found dozens of anomalies. However, none of them offered a clear, conclusive image. The orbs on videotape were as curious as ever. Some researchers theorized that a spirit's electrostatic charge attracts particles from the atmosphere, focusing them into a clump of particles that marks the ghost's presence. These clumps of debris may be what we call orbs. Think of them as a ghost's flying dust footprint. Sounds reasonable to me. Even in the lab, the audio recordings were still chilling. To my naked ear, the basement was quiet. I cannot explain what caused the sounds on the recording. What do you think?